Some stories stay with us not because they end happily, but because they leave echoes in our hearts. Echoes of pain, love, separation, and sacrifice. Khaled Hosseini's And the Mountains Echoed isn't just a novel, it's a journey across time, generations, and continents. A story about choices and their ripple. Following his iconic novels The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns, Hosseini returns with something more layered, more fragmented, and perhaps more powerful. And the Mountain Echoed begins in a small Afghan village with a fable. A father telling his children a story, and then a decision is made that tears apart a brother and a sister. Abdullah and Pari. What follows is a tapestry of interconnected lives, spanning from Afghanistan to the Paris to California and then finally to the Greece. Each chapter introduces a new perspective, a new voice, a new wound. Unlike his previous book, this novel doesn't follow a single narrative arc. Instead, it unfolds like a puzzle, with each chapter adding a piece to the greater picture. Some might find this fragmented style disorienting at first, but it beautifully mirrors real life, where stories don't wrap up neatly and people don't always find closure. Khalid Hosseini beautifully and masterfully explore themes of sacrifice, guilt, identity, and passage of time. He doesn't just tells you what happened. He shows you why it matters. The prose is lyrical yet grounded. Characters are flawed, relatable, and heartbreakingly real. So, if you want to know why you should read this book, so let me tell you. If you believe that stories have a power to heal, if you want to understand the invisible threads that binds families, friends, and strangers across borders, this book is for you. It's not a fast-paced drama. It's a soulful meditation. Each chapter offers its own heartbreak and revelation. There are some lessons which I learned from this book. First one is sometimes love means letting go, even when it breaks you. Second is the scars of the war are not always visible, they pass on through generations. Third is choices, even small ones, can echo through lifetimes. The fourth one is we all are part of each other's stories, whether we know it or not. Now let's move towards the summary part with the spoilers, of course. If you want to read this book and you hate spoilers, so just skip this part. In 1950s Afghanistan, a poor farmer named Sabur sets out on a long walk to Kabul with his two young children. 10 years old Abdullah and 3 years old Pari. Sabur is struggling to feed his family and a painful decision awaits him in the city. They are a wealthy couple. Mr. and Mrs. Wahadati offer to adopt little Pari. They promise her a better life, but it comes at a great cost. Abdullah must be left behind. Heartbroken and confused, Abdullah returns home alone, clutching the yellow feather Pari used to play with, a symbol of their deep bond. This moment of separation becomes the seed from which the entire novel grows. Years pass, Sabur remarries a woman named Parwana, who hides a secret. When she was younger, she caused an accident that left her beautiful twin sister Masuma paralyzed. Out of guilt, Parwana cared for Masuma for years until she left her behind to marry Sabur and start a new life. Meanwhile, Pari grows up in Kabul, unaware of her true family. Her adoptive mother Naila is a troubled poet with a wild lifestyle. The family servant is her only connection to kindness. Nabi is Sabur's brother and feels guilty for arranging Pari's adoption. He stays loyal to Mr. Wahadati, who becomes paralyzed and inherits his home. Before dying, he asks Nabi to help Pari reconnect with her past. As time moves on, the story expands across countries and generations. In one chapter, two Afghan American cousins, Idris and Taimur, visit post-war Kabul. There they meet a brave, injured girl named Roshana, a refugee. Idris promises to help her but forgets once he returns to America. Taimur instead quietly funds her surgery. Later years, Roshana becomes a writer and dedicates her book to the people who saved her, not Idris. It's a moment of realization for him, full of shame and regret. In Paris, Pari becomes a brilliant mathematician. Her relationship with her adoptive mother Naila is tense and complicated. As a teenager, Pari secretly falls in love with Julian, a man who was once Naila's lover. When Naila finds out, she feels betrayed. Her own guilt, pain, and broken past eventually lead her to suicide. Pari, devastated, finds strength in becoming a mother and building her own life. She has three children and slowly uncovers clues about her real family. Thanks to the Greek doctor named Marcus, who moves into the Nabi's inherited home in Kabul and reads Nabi's letters about the past, Pari finally learns the truth about her brother Abdullah. Meanwhile, back in Afghanistan, a young boy named Adil becomes friends with a village boy named Ghulam, whose father is Iqbal, Sabur's son from Parwana. Adil admires Ghulam, but everything changes when he finds out his own powerful father, a warlord, stole Ghulam's land. This shatters Adil's innocent view of his father, making him question what's wrong and right. Finally, many years later, Abdullah, now an old man living in California, still dreams of his old sister. He has a daughter named Pari too, named after his sister he never forgets. One day, he receives a call from Marcus in Kabul, who has found Pari in Paris. Abdullah and his daughter travels to meet her. When they do, he is overwhelmed with emotions but struggles with fading memory due to the age and illness. Yet, when Pari sings the poem from their childhood, something stirs in his heart. He recognizes her. It's beautiful, tearful reunion after decades of separation, but it's also bittersweet. Abdullah's mind begins to slip, and one day he even lashes out in confusion. Still, Pari and her Nisi take him back to the Paris, hoping to create new memories together, even if time is short. And the mountain echoed is not just about one family, it's about how love, loss, sacrifice connects us. The story moves like an echo, touching one life, then another, showing how deeply our choices affect those we may never meet. In the end, it tells us that even when the memory fades, love remembers.